name is Kathy, and today we'll be starting Lesson 10 from the Teach Yourself to Play the Folk Harp book by Sylvia Woods. In my video called Before You Begin, I go over a lot of details concerning practicing and issues that you may be facing with regards to learning the folk harp. Please review this video to answer many of your questions. This lesson will be handled differently than any other lesson in this course. In this lesson, you will be introduced to the broken four-note chord. This is a difficult to master technique and a cornerstone of harping, and so we will handle this differently. This lesson will be learned to a certain level that I will demonstrate in the harp section of this lesson. Once this basic level of ability is achieved, then we will move on to Lesson 11 and practice both Lessons 10 and 11 together. Once Lesson 11 is mastered, all the material from Lesson 10, including the exercises of Lesson 10, will be kept as part of your finger exercise program for the entire next year of your harping lessons, which will follow this course. How you would practice this material from Lesson 10 as a finger exercise is to play all parts of the lesson 3 to 5 times each day as you would a normal finger exercise. It is important to keep practicing this broken four-note chord for the entire next year, even though you will have seemed to have mastered the technique of it, because if you drop it, you will find that you will lose the ability to perform the broken four-note chord very quickly. It will not stay with you as a permanent part of your harping technical ability for at least a year. So it is necessary to keep it up for that length of time. This music course continues to pick up more speed with this lesson, as we have already discussed, and you will find that you need to spend more and more time with this lesson. This is perfectly normal. Everyone goes through this. However, one of the goals you probably have for yourself with regards to the harp is the concept of being able to just sit down with your harp and playing lots of different music for yourself and others for enjoyment. So we will continue on with the modified sight reading as explained in the last few lessons. So, with this lesson, go back to the pieces from Lesson 3 to 9 and play them just once before you begin the material in Lesson 10. Do this with each practice session. Just play the pieces from Lesson 3 to 9 once before you begin the work of Lesson 10. To start this lesson, go over all of the exercises from Lessons 1 to 9 before beginning the exercises for Lesson 10. Our first exercise for this lesson, Exercise 10A, is on page 58 of your book and introduces the broken four-note chord in root position. Practice this as written in the right hand and then an octave lower in the left hand. Exercise 10B introduces the broken four-note chord in a different position. Practice this as written in the right hand and then an octave lower in the left hand. Exercise 10C on page 58 of your book introduces yet another broken four-note chord position. Practice this as written in the right hand and then an octave lower in the left hand. Exercise 10D at the bottom of page 58 of your book goes through all the different positions that are possible between the C octave, the G octave, and the A octave. All of these four-note chords are to be practiced broken. Practice this as written in the right hand and then an octave lower in the left hand. Our first piece of music for this lesson is called Cockles and Mussels on page 59 of your book. This is a well-known piece from Ireland that introduces the broken four-note chord in the left hand. Take this piece very slowly. Clap and count out the right hand and then the left hand, and then practice the piece hands separately and then hands together. When practicing the four-note chords of the left hand, go very slowly. It is more important to get each note correctly than to accidentally hit other notes unintentionally. Go slow enough that you can ensure that you hit all of the notes correctly and in an even fashion. Our next piece of music for this lesson is called Au clair de la lune on page 60 of your book. This song was written by the opera composer J.P. Lully in the court of Louis XIV, the Sun King, and became the popular folk song in France. This piece also makes use of the broken four-note chord in the left hand, and there is a repeat of the first line of the piece of music. Take this piece very slowly. Clap and count out the right hand, then the left hand, and then practice the piece hands separately and then hands together. When practicing the broken four-note chords of the left hand, go very slowly. It is more important to get each note correctly than to accidentally hit other notes unintended. Go slow enough that you can ensure that you hit all the notes correctly and in an even fashion. Our last piece of music for this lesson is Shenandoah at the bottom of page 60 and the top of page 61 of your book. This piece of music introduces the broken four-note chord in the right hand. This piece of music is a bit of a challenge, so take it slowly. It is a beautiful piece of music and well worth the effort involved to master it. Clap and count out the right hand and then the left hand, and then practice the piece hands separately and then hands together. When practicing the four-note chords of the right hand, go very slowly. It is more important to get each note correct than to accidentally hit other notes unintended. Go slow enough that you can ensure that you hit all of the notes correctly and in an even fashion. Take this slowly and remember that everyone has a hard time with this, and it just takes some time to master this technique. Also remember that you do not progress slowly in music. You chug along at a certain level and suddenly make a big step up in your technical ability. The important thing to remember is that you will get this. Just take it slow. To continue on with our modified sight reading, we will begin to introduce more music from the Sylvia Woods 52 Scottish Songs for All Harps book. Great. In this book, each piece of music is arranged for both beginner harp and advanced harp levels. For our purposes, we will begin to learn some of the pieces of music from the easier arrangements of this book to serve as easier and quicker to master pieces of music that can be placed into our modified sight reading program. How we do this is that you would practice all of lesson 10 normally. If this lesson takes you more than 2 weeks to master, then we would introduce a new piece from the 52 Scottish Songs for All Harps book at the beginning of your 3rd week with this lesson. If it takes you longer than this to master this lesson, then keep adding one new piece each week from the new book. Learn these new pieces of music just as you would your normal lesson music. Clap and count them out, and then learn them hands separately, and then put them hands together. I will be making teaching videos on all of the music of the new book, and you can refer to those videos for teaching assistance on each of the pieces. If you need to supplement the last lesson and this supplemental material, then continue on down the list from the new book. This is the order of pieces to learn. Number 1, Auld Lang Syne, the easy arrangement on page 6 of your book. Number 2, Ballou Ballerie, the easy arrangement on page 10 of your book. Number 3, Bra Bra Lads, the easy arrangement on page 24 of your book. Number 4, Corn Rigs Are Bonny, the easy arrangement on page 32 of your book. Number 5, Dumbarton's Drums, the easy arrangement on page 34 of your book. Number 6, Highland Laddie, the easy arrangement on page 46 of your book. Number 7, I'la Kai in by yon town. I tried. The easy arrangement on page 52 of your book. Number 8, The Keel Row, the easy arrangement on page 58 of your book. Number 9, Kelvin Grove, the easy arrangement on page 60 of your book. Number 10, Lassie with the Lint White Locks, the easy arrangement on page 64 of your book. Number 11, the Leah rig, the easy arrangement on page 66 of your book. Number 12, My Nanny O, the easy arrangement on page 84 of your book. Number 13, A Rosebud by My Early Walk, the easy arrangement on page 90 of your book. Number 14, Scotland the Brave, the easy arrangement on page 94 of your book. Number 15, The White Cockadee, the easy arrangement on page 102 of your book. Number 16, Will Ye O Come Back Again, the easy arrangement on page 104 of your book. If you like, you could also supplement the lessons with some Christmas carols from the book 50 Christmas Carols for All Harpers by Sylvia Woods. This is another wonderful book by Sylvia Woods that uses the same format of the easy version and the more advanced version. In this book, the easy version is indicated with a large A at the beginning of the piece. If you choose to supplement the lessons from this book, then this is the list to use. Number 1, Away in a Manger, the easy version on page 8 of your book. Number 2, Christ Was Born on Christmas Day, the easy version on page 19 of your book. Number 3, The First Noel, the easy version on page 24 of your book. Number 4, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, the easy version on page 36 of your book. Number 5, The Holly and the Ivy, the easy version on page 40 of your book. Number 6, I Saw Three Ships, the easy version on page 42 of your book. Number 7, Shepherds Hurried to Bethlehem, the easy version on page 73 of your book. Number 8, Silent Night, the easy version on page 74 of your book. Or you can use combinations of both books. When you reach 20 pieces in your modified sight reading program, then split the list in half and play the first half of your pieces, number 1 through 10, one day, and then the second half of the pieces the next day, and repeat. As an example, if you practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, then you would play the first half of your modified sight reading program, that's pieces 1 to 10, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you would play the second half of your modified sight reading program, pieces 11 through 20, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The ultimate goal of your modified sight reading portion of your practice is to develop a different program of music for each day that you practice, starting with 10 pieces per program and ending with 20 pieces per program. As an example, if you practice 5 days a week, you would develop 5 programs of 10 pieces each, and slowly increase the number of pieces in each program up to 20, for a total of 100 pieces of music in the modified sight reading program per week. So start with one program, then when you reach 20 pieces, split it into 2 programs until the 2 programs are 20 pieces long. Then split them into 4 programs and continue on until you have all 5 days of different music, or 6 days if you practice 6 days a week. So to recap this lesson, first, play through all the pieces from lesson 3 to lesson 9 once, and also any of the supplemental pieces that you've learned to this point. Then practice all the exercises from lesson 1 through lesson 9 before learning the new exercises from lesson 10. Practice all the pieces from lesson 10. Clap and count out all the right hand and the left hand, then play the pieces hands separately and then hands together. If you are still working on this lesson by week 3, then start to learn the next piece from the secondary book entitled 52 Scottish Songs for All Harps by Sylvia Woods, or pieces from the 50 Christmas Carols for All Harps book by Sylvia Woods. These new pieces should be quickly learned, and then they are incorporated into the modified sight reading section of your practice time. As discussed in last week's lesson, in order to advance as quickly as possible, It's important to have some really difficult for you to master music and some easier to master music. It's important to have the two levels of difficulty incorporated into your regular practice schedules. Hello, this is Lesson 10, Exercise 10A. And you'd repeat this in the left hand an octave lower. And this is exercise 10B. And you'd play this an octave lower with the left hand as well. And this is exercise 10C. Great! And you'd play this exercise an octave lower in the left hand. And this is exercise 10D. And this is exercise 10D. Excellent. And you'd repeat this in the left hand an octave lower. And this is our first piece of music, Cockles and Mussels. Excellent. Now this is Cockles and Mussels at a slower tempo. This is the way you'd play it. This is Cockles and Mussels, the way you'd play it to the point where you move on to lesson number 11. The key thing to remember with this is don't proceed to lesson 11 until you can play the left-hand notes accurately every single time without slipping off. That's the key point. And this is our next piece of music called Au clair de la lune. And this is how you'd get clair de lune up to this level that I'm about to play now before proceeding on to lesson number 11. Nice and slow. The key thing to remember is to make sure the left hand broken 4-note chords are played accurately before proceeding. And this is our final piece of music called Shenandoah. Excellent. And this is how you should get it up to Shenandoah, up to this level before proceeding on to lesson number 11. Go nice and slow. Nice and slow, and the key thing to remember is to make sure that you hit all of the notes correctly. Okay, to stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscription button right below this video. Take care!